What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So heading into Christmas, we have some holiday sales that are now live for Nintendo and PlayStation, giving us a last look at some of the deals heading into a time when I'm sure many people will be getting some new systems to buy for. We'll go over those here today. Also, we are going to be talking about GTA 6 and how somehow the anticipation and even some of the crazy theories have actually gotten beyond the Switch 2 at this point. And we also have the SuperSEGA, which, go figure, Sega, not a huge fan of, and it looks like they have just about shut this thing down. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps it a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members of the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button down below this video. And we're gonna start today with Sega, but in this case, Sega talking about their past. Some of the retro stuff that they've played around with from time to time, like they've done the mini consoles, for example, with the Sega Genesis, but we all are kind of hoping that maybe they take a shot at either the Sega Saturn or the Dreamcast. Well, we can see this is posted up. This is actually in an article from The Guardian, who did talk to the CEO at SEGA of America and actually SEGA of Europe here. They say the SEGA of 2025 and beyond will be reinvesting in its classic titles, introducing new audiences to Golden Axe, Virtua Fighter, and Jet Set Radio, instead of merely exhuming them as museum pieces. When I asked about the possibility of new mini consoles based around the Saturn or Dreamcast, he demurs, "I'm not going for the mini direction. It's not me. I want to embrace modern gamers." Sega later clarified that there are no plans for more minis. I think this is a shame because we all figured these would be the most interesting systems coming out of Sega for the mini console side. Seeing a mini Saturn or a mini Dreamcast, there'd be a ton of value there, even if they did end up over that $100 price point. If the selection of games were good, that kind of era, there's a lot of really cool stuff there that they could pull from. It would be worth, honestly, even up to like 150 or more, I think anyway. Again, if the selection's good enough, but seems like they're not interested, at least now, to create that. It's more about the modern stuff currently, the newer games, which is fine. I don't think it has to be either or, though. I think you can sort of do both. Nintendo does this a lot, where they will still put a spotlight on some of their older stuff while also showing new stuff, and at times even making those mini systems, although they also stopped just before the Nintendo 64, which we thought would be very, very interesting to see from them. But yeah, unfortunately, right now, it seems like that Sega Saturn or Sega Dreamcast mini hype is going to be put on hold. Also, we did have that Dead Space remake that I thought was really well done, and there were hopes that maybe EA would look to doing a brand new Dead Space title. Well, we can see this is posted up. This is over on Games Radar as they transcribed a video from Dan Allen Gaming, who was actually speaking to Glenn Schofield, some of the game's original creators, of course, alongside of him. And he went on to say, "We tried, actually, the three of us, we tried Dead Space 4, we're talking this year. We didn't go too deep. They just said, we're not interested right now. We know who to talk to, so we didn't take it any further. We respected their opinion. They know their numbers and what they have to ship." And I mean, yeah, that's gonna be the biggest thing is, could Dead Space 4 sell enough to make up what would be I don't want to say a substantial budget, but it would at least be north of 100 million, I think, minimum. So that's what it comes down to. And I'm not 100% sure where they stand right now after that Dead Space remake didn't necessarily light the sales charts on fire or anything. It came in middling, apparently. So maybe at some point in the future, and this is more them saying, we're interested, but we're not really interested in having Glenn Schofield and some of the original creators work on it, especially after what happened with Striking Distance and the Callisto Protocol. But we'll see. At some point, maybe EA shocks everyone with a trailer for Dead Space. I just wouldn't necessarily expect it anytime soon. Oh, and we have some more retro news to look forward to heading into CES. We can see this is posted up over on the official account. From MyArcade, Sega and MyArcade team up to launch retro gaming devices featuring Sonic, Outrun, Shinobi, and more. Come see them first at CES 2025. I know what you're thinking. We just heard the CEO at SEGA of America say they're not interested in creating mini consoles. Well, this is technically not them making it. This is them, I guess, licensing out the ROMs and allowing MyArcade to make what just look like sort of countertop or bar top arcade units, which are fun. They're a fun novelty thing to have. They also typically don't cost a ton compared to the arcade one-up machines, and I don't know, it'd be interesting to just see some footage of these systems get out there, but I think once again, coming back to Sega, we'd like to see that Dreamcast or Saturn Mini, so maybe someday. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with some of the holiday sales that are now live, again, heading into the Christmas time period, and people getting all kinds of different systems and hardware and games. We typically see some of these platform holders and publishers run all kinds of deals to try to grab your attention, and most likely stuff up these servers. So there's this debate right now ongoing. It's like, hey, if you're gonna gift something that is heavily reliant on the internet, especially when it comes to updates or digital downloads, should you open up and set the thing up and then repackage it and gift it, or should you just leave it and let them go through some of the trials and tribulations that come with the all digital future just about right now? I think it comes down to age group. If they're younger, they don't care about any of that. They don't even care if the tape's been cut on the other side. They just want the thing to work immediately. But if they're like a teenager up, yeah, let them deal with the slow downloads. That's the world they were born into at this point. But we do have plenty of deals that technically they can take advantage of on Christmas Day, since you don't have to go out to the store, and, well, the digital storefronts are open 24/7. We'll start here with Nintendo and their holiday sale. I went ahead and grabbed a couple here, and by the way, this does include a bunch of first-party games from Nintendo, which is always welcome for a company that usually leaves things at full price. Starting at the top, I had Nintendo Switch Sports here, that is 30% off. Yakuza Kiwami, that's 25% off. Mario Odyssey, classic title. I can say classic because it's, like 7 years old now? That's 33% off. Animal Crossing New Horizons is 30% off. Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, the newest one, 25% off. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, that's 30% off. Minecraft Legends, 75% off. No More Heroes 3, that's half off. Nier Automata, also half off. Sonic Frontiers Digital Deluxe, 65% off. Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD, that's 60% off. Doom 1 and Doom 2, 60% off. You can get both of those combined for, what, $4? Absolute steal right there, some classics. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, 75% off. Slay the Spire, 66% off. And One Piece Odyssey, 50% off. Now let's move over here to PlayStation. Some of these are cross-generation bundles. Some of these are like you could pick either PS4 or PS5. It's kind of scattershot a bit in that PlayStation store, but still I went through and picked out some of the, I think, pretty good deals here. Starting with COD, Black Ops 6. Look, it's one of the most popular games of the year. Surely we played a ton on Christmas Day and then the rest of the year here. 25% off. FC 25, same deal, very popular, 60% off, as well as NBA 2K25, 60% off. God of War Ragnarok, 58% off. Madden 25, 60% off. College Football 25, half off. Spider-Man 2, it's 43% off. Dragon Age Veilguard, that's 40% off. Silent Hill 2, 30% off. Space Marine 2, it's 25% off. Lego Horizon Adventures, that one's 34% off. Hogwarts Legacy, 75% off. That's a good pickup there at, what's like $15 or something now on the storefront. Cyberpunk 2077, same deal here. Remember, that does have the update that they've done somewhat recently. That's 50% off. Star Wars Outlaws at 35% off. Mortal Kombat 1, 60% off. Metaphor, 25% off. Red Dead Redemption 2, which I still think needs that PS5 version. Come on, Rockstar, let's get that done. 67% off. Alan Wake 2 is 50% off. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is 40% off. Final Fantasy 16 is 25% off. Jedi Survivor, 75% off. This, I think, is a good pickup. One, it does use the PlayStation 5 Pro with the full patch and everything that they have apparently gone back and fixed, but also it's so cheap and it's an awesome game. I'd say in the Star Wars universe, definitely worth checking out. The Crew Motorfest, 70% off, and then Assassin's Creed Mirage, 60% off. So as I mentioned, I just picked out a few of the games that are on sale. There are pages and pages and pages of different games that are fairly cheap actually right now, so worth looking into. And if you go on an account that you've set up maybe on one of their websites that you know you're going to log into on the newly gifted system in the next day or two, if you buy them on that account, they'll technically be available and ready to be downloaded right then and there after you sign into the PlayStation or the Switch. So might not be a bad idea to lock some of these down ahead of time, so you just hit a few buttons and you're good to go. Next up, let's talk about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That came out in the first week or so of December. There's that early access period, so kind of muddy around exactly when the thing released technically, but still, it's out, and we are starting to get some of our initial sales position for the game, and I'm very curious how it's going to turn out, because It's also in Game Pass, and we're still just trying to figure out how exactly Microsoft is looking for these games to sell, right? What are their expectation levels? Is it more about engagement, or are they still looking to actually sell copies despite it being in a service that if you subscribe to, you can just go ahead and download and play? Well, we can see this is posted up. This is by Matt Piscatello on his official account. This is on Blue Sky, saying, anyways, don't usually post stuff about weekly rankings, but Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was the #2 best-selling video game for week ending December 14th in US dollar sales, trailing only Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Astrobot went from 11 the week prior to 7th for the week, the same week as TGA. So there you go. There was a bit of a spotlight put on Astrobot that had it jump up, 4 ranks or so. Not bad, actually, for that. Now, when it comes to Indiana Jones trailing Call of Duty, look, Call of Duty, once again, biggest game, especially this is in the US specifically for Circana. Call of Duty is massive in the United States. We like our Call of Duty games, especially with like the mainstream and everything. But in this case, Indiana Jones, despite being in Game Pass, seems to be performing fairly well. It's not topping the sales charts, and this is just weeklies. This is just how it's basically sold essentially in its first week. But still, the fact that it is selling like this is, I'd say, at least a good signal here that, yeah, Game Pass is going to affect sales. Obviously, you can just, like, I just went ahead and I picked up the early access thing so we could do a video on it, and that worked out well for the video, and people were curious to see how it played and everything, but I didn't outright buy the game overall. Even, like, the physical copy doesn't have the full game on the disc, which to me, I mean, you're using Blu-rays, it just feels like a deal breaker and a very weird thing to put the disc into the system, and then has to download 70% of the game. It's like, what are we doing here? Just put the code in the box then, if that's really how you want to go at this point, or just don't even release the physical copy. Or, I don't know, multiple Blu-ray discs at that point for a $70 game. I think you can swing that one. Either way, though, coming back to the point, it does at least seem like Microsoft's strategy is at least off to a decent start for this game. I would expect it most likely to do well throughout the holiday season, right? Then we'll get into January and February, and we'll see it, I think, level off or even drop down probably out of the top 10. And once again, they'll work towards their PlayStation 5 launch, and that'll most likely spike sales again. And I think there is possibility for this game, as weird as it sounds now, to find its way to the Switch 2 at some point. I know we haven't seen the Switch 2 or know all of its capabilities and stuff, but this game running on the Series S, I actually think we could see that happen, and I think Microsoft is going to really go all in on Nintendo's next platform for another place to sell their games where Game Pass doesn't exist. So to me, this is just a good start for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, but we need more information with the entirety of the holiday season being included, as this is just its first week. So we'll find out more about that actually in January when the full Circana report releases. Next up, let's talk about Grand Theft Auto 6, which it's been a long time since their first trailer came out. It's been, more than a year now, and people online are certainly fiending for that next Grand Theft Auto 6 reveal, and at this point, it's getting almost ridiculous to the point of the Switch 2 looks like tame at this point. Like, all the years of speculation around the Switch Pro to the Switch 2. It has nothing on GTA 6. I mean, let's go over some of the stuff here, okay? So, for example, we can see this is over on Push Square, who I'll have this link down below in the sources because they go through a lot of stuff here. But the idea right now is that everyone's looking towards the 27. Like, there's this obsession with the number 27. Started when Rockstar North employees started posting pics of the holiday swag they'd received from the company. In one photo, fans picked up on a note on the staffer's coffee table with various references to the number 27 included within. And from there, it spiraled into, I think, kind of meme territory. Like, people are just kind of making jokes at this point. Like, you can see Grand Theft Auto 6 alert says Rockstar Games was founded on December 27th. Their Instagram account currently has 27 posts. Trailer 1 has 27 written at exactly 27 seconds. Their recent post on X includes a link with 27 at the end. You can see GTA 6 Plus here says, Lucia, do you know why you are here, has 27 letters? And let's go a bit further. Why not? We have Rockstar Intel, who did their own deep dive. They say nothing slips through. Why would they cover up the plate? That being like a license plate here on a car. Well, the plate reads 6DW31980. If you calculate 6 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 0 equals 27. D is also the fourth letter in the alphabet, and W is the 23rd. Add them together, and guess what you get? That's right, 27. All I've taken away from this is that Rockstar has done some of the best marketing for GTA 6 that I've ever seen, and that marketing plan has been do absolutely nothing. It's worked. And I've said before, that is why I look at GTA 6 as the most anticipated game of our lifetime. Absolutely is. I mean, the first trailer, we saw hundreds of millions of views on that. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. And now it's to the point where people are really nitpicking and trying to figure out every little thing for a trailer. Like, it's not even like, oh, when's the release date of the game? It's for the next trailer. And sure, the 27th, I guess it could happen. What is that? That's Friday? It'd be a weird time. I think at this point, most of the people at Rockstar and Take-Two are like holiday break, and they'll be back in January to kick things off, most likely with that next Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, because apparently it's coming out fall 2025. We'll see about that one at this point. There's still a lot of skepticism just around that. But that's kind of where I am with it. I think we'll see more about this game with, yes, multiple trailer drops, but I think it's kind of late in the year. Although, who knows? It'd be pretty fun to be shocked that, oh, wow, there really is a GTA 6 trailer happening on December 27th. But what if it was January 27th? I mean, number 27 could technically be in any month. So I guess we'll see on Friday. Wouldn't necessarily hold my breath, but I guess it'd be fun to be surprised. So we'll find out later on this week. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the SuperSEGA, which was the system that was going to play all the different Sega games from the past. That includes a disk drive to play Dreamcast and Saturn games, as well as cartridge slots for all of their cartridge-based systems, the Genesis, the Master System, and so on. Well, it turns out Sega wasn't very happy with the idea of this system because it was called the SuperSEGA, and it kind of looked like they were almost showing it as an official product from the company. So naturally, the cease and desist comes through. They're not happy. They're like, no, get rid of this. You have to destroy the units. You got to refund money. That's the end of it. They didn't really seem to line up with SuperSEGA, at least what they wanted. But now it appears Sega has come in like full force, which is kind of what we all figured would happen the last time we talked about this. Well, I actually received an email around this whole thing, and let's take a look here. They have some of the bolded points as to what's going to happen now and what they have to inform everyone after they did attempt to change their name to SuperSPGA. Sega still wasn't having it. They say they don't want us to produce neither the SuperSEGA or SuperSPGA or whatever device that run anything related to Sega. Refunds are being processed. If you're a customer, you did not claim a refund, or if you did not receive a refund, please request a chargeback from the amount charged. By the way, they were originally asking, I thought, for $5, and it ended up being like $370 something that they charged people, which is a whole thing. They then say, to be clear, we did not scam to anyone, just to make sure everyone knew that. And the main guy on Super SPGA is selling his Lamborghini to prepare to cover damages and losses and legal cost. Now, they say they're going to release a video to thank everyone for their unconditional support and to let you know what our plan will be. Stay tuned by early January 2025. Obviously, a shame that they had to sell their Lamborghini, which I have no idea if that was like a pitch for sympathy. It's like, oh, wow, what a shame. The Lamborghini had to go. It's like, wow, it's incredible stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, for anyone out there looking forward to the SuperSEGA, turns out it's not going to be happening, at least the way that they originally drew it up. Now, they say they'll be back in early January with some new plan. I don't know if I would expect that at this point. And I think now we can kind of close the book on this SuperSEGA project and move on from it. So if you were someone who did get charged that ridiculous amount when you thought you were just putting a couple bucks in, make sure you get that money back, or if you have to, issue that charge back as soon as possible. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday. That is Game of the Year Madness. This is Day 5, Balatro versus Space Marine 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an upset in the making right now, at least right now. Space Marine 2 was the lower seed. Remember, Balatro is one of the highest seeds in this bracket. And it's currently down 51% to 49%. A couple thousand more votes came in since I checked earlier today, and it's still trailing. This could be the first big upset of the Game of the Year Madness tournament, but we'll see. There's still time throughout the day, as technically this voting will end at noon Eastern, and then the next one will go up. So we'll see how exactly this one shakes out here in a few hours. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Ruben, who says, not gonna lie, Nintendo PC ports is something Nintendo is missing out on selling. But of course, it's all about security, and mods trigger Nintendo plus piracy would be easier on PC. Man, if I could live in a timeline with Nintendo IPs on PC though, shout out to fans giving back to the people. That, I think, referring to the Star Fox port to PC. But the idea of Nintendo moving their games to PC, it's something that's been long discussed. I mean, for years and years. How cool would that be to not be restrained by typically the weaker hardware Nintendo will put on the market? And in this case, we do have some of their games that do rely on some of the uniqueness of their hardware, but it's possible we could get to a point, like decades in the future, where sure, consoles aren't as much of a thing since we have cloud streaming that's perfect. It feels like you're playing native and it's available everywhere, and I guess, but as of now, Nintendo, we know, console first. They're the most strict about that, really are. I mean, they've kind of played around with cell phones and like, okay, let's see what we can do there with games that are specifically designed for those phones. I don't know if Nintendo is that interested in PC, mostly because, yes, you're right. They see the modding community. Nintendo likes having control over their own series and their own trademarks and stuff. I don't know if they'd be thrilled putting their stuff out there and saying, oh, go for it, mod community, see what you can come up with. Because based on Nintendo's history with that stuff, they get pretty aggressive if they don't like what they see. And the internet will probably do stuff that they don't want to see. But hey, who knows? I guess 20 years from now, 30 years from now, who knows what gaming will look like anyway. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card, or maybe you wanted to catch up on the last Spawncast of the year, I'll leave that right below. Guys, have a great Christmas, happy holidays, everything. I'll be back Friday, December 27th for Newswave, and I'll see you guys then.